One with the whiteboard.
Yeah, you're one with the whiteboard.
At some point, we're going to have to draw something. But, I mean, are we going to do that one, or you want to do this handover one?
No, we could do the draw me a picture one. I'm fine with that. I haven't really... We'd have to get picked back up where we are on the handover. Have to prep for it a little bit more. We can do the draw me a picture one if you want. Win the whiteboard is what I would call it, though, not draw me a picture.
Yeah, but...
I understand what you're trying to say. You're trying to say communicate.
It's communication.
It's communication.
You always say, oh, it comes back to communication. Are we recording?
I am.
Good.
Yeah, it's about communication and how effective you can communicate, right? So.
Well, hold on. Somebody effectively communicated to me that we didn't really... I think we had some audio issues last time, and our podcast just like started right in the middle of a conversation, which is okay. But we have a...
Oh, I figured that was just the style of what we're doing.
It kind of is, but
Okay.
but today it's for those, because we're working with a lot of engineers here. So for those engineers that really need a good opening,
For our 5 listeners that we are grateful to have.
we're going to talk about communication and how important sometimes you need to draw a picture.
And what we like to say is win the whiteboard.
Win the whiteboard.
Right? We actually have that on our wall somewhere in the office, right?
Yeah, that's like a strategy, though. We got to be careful giving that away. That's okay. You're just going to give it away for
That's not
free.
a strategy. Hey, win the whiteboard. Be smart.
If we get in a meeting...
All right, you get into some of these, and it is about communication, because sometimes when people are like, hey, what does that mean? I'm like, I don't know, be smarter. Like, how do you like, what does that mean when I say win the whiteboard to you? Like, what does that mean to you?
Okay, what it means to me is that as an engineer or in engineering conversations, there's this tendency to be super technical. And generally, let's say there's 6 people in a room and they're trying to solve a problem. And it's usually an hour-long meeting. Most meetings are booked for an hour, right? And you have this risk of talking for the whole time and assuming that everybody is following, right? But a couple of people are kind of snoozing. A couple are on their phones, right? And so the term, to me, between us, win the whiteboard, means there's an opportunity in that room to capture the moment. And especially if it's a bit of a competitive room, like 2 different people or groups could end up getting the action from this, and you think you've got the right action, then you want to capture not only the status of what's happening, but the next steps and draw the right picture, because then someone's going to say, cool, are you good to go execute that? And then you say, yes. So you have won the whiteboard at that moment. You drew the real estate.
I see
you
what
used
you're
the real
saying.
estate. You drew the solution. It got approved, and you leave the meeting with an action plan, generally based on a picture. And a picture doesn't necessarily mean, like you drew a person, but I mean it's boxes, it's schedules, it's you're drawing this in a way that's not a paragraph on a Word document, but it is.
So you literally mean, like, it as a competition, you are going to win the whiteboard.
Yeah, in a lot of ways.
Joby, capital W-I-N. Like, I'm going to win this whiteboard.
What word did you think it was?
I didn't. I took it at that
Everything's
kind
a competition.
I kind of took it at that. I guess I never really thought about that, though.
Oh.
And in my definition of it is like winning the whiteboard is communicating your message effectively. So you're not always trying to necessarily compete against anybody. What you're trying to do is get your message, your understanding understood by everybody in the room.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's a little bit different approach, I guess you could say, right?
Okay. There's the winning collectively. Let's all win together.
Yeah.
Versus
I'm the more.
idea.
I'm the more
one.
woke. I guess I'm kind of woke. Everybody's a winner. We all get trophies. Not really. I don't actually believe that. But yeah, that's more like I have a message that I want to get across. In order to do that effectively, I need to win the whiteboard. That's
Win
kind
the
of what it
whiteboard.
was.
I'm going to
meant
write that down. You
by
keep talking.
me, right? Where you're saying is you are literally trying to win. I don't want to say win the argument because it might not be an argument, but you're trying to win the best idea in the room, if you will. Is that accurate?
Well, that makes me sound like a bit of a jerk. Like oh, always got to win. That's the problem with Mike. Never, no. But we have been in
Aren't you in sales? Shouldn't you be like that?
Yeah,
Like,
we're
I mean,
always
that's-
got to win.
That's what you
But
should.
we have
do.
been in a few rooms where it was multi-parties in the room,
Yeah,
and there
yeah.
was scope at stake, and you wanted to go up and say, well, look, I know what the heck we're doing, and I know how we're going to do it, so this is what we're going to do. And then you walk out of the room and say, hey, we won, right? We won the
Yeah.
opportunity that we wanted. But you're right. A winning culture, let's win together, right? Let's have a win-win, that's all that
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah, yeah.
right? Okay, so one of those is, you got to win the whiteboard. Like, you got to make good use of it. Okay.
When I say that, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So-
I think that's related. So that's a little
I
slogan.
think they're both related, though. I think they're in the same vein,
Okay, that's fair.
right?
The thing is, I find that in a meeting, if that never happens, that's generally probably you weren't quite as effective. Like you eventually have to have a few ideas big enough that everybody agrees on that you can just write them on the wall.
Well, you know,
and you're like, that's the idea, right?
So it's okay. So now you kind of like changing them a little bit in a way, because now what I'm going to talk about is specifically like a meeting setting where you're winning the whiteboard. What you're trying to do or say is you want to add maximum value to that meeting.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, sometimes
Right.
I'm sitting in a meeting, I'm like, damn, is somebody going to draw this or do I have to?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Does
Now-
everybody in the room understand what we're talking about? That's what you're right.
Yes, because you'll go in a room for like 30 minutes and everybody's nodding their heads while they're checking Twitter or X, and you're like, damn, I don't think we're not even saying the same thing.
Yeah,
Everybody's
so
agreeing.
I
Or even worse, we're not really agreeing, but we're not fixing it. We just keep talking. And the more words are supposedly going to get to an end point.
I actually agree more with that and think that fits better with my version of win the whiteboard, because that is what I mean by effective communication is you win the whiteboard by adding maximum value to the conversation.
Okay, that's great.
Like that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to add value to the conversation so and effectively we all win together.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, but also, so is it fair? Like I used the term, like, draw me a picture, please. Like just if I'm talking to somebody and they're explaining something complex to me and I'm not keeping up, I'm like, dude, can you draw this? Right? So that's fair. That's in the same vein, right? Just draw me a picture, please.
Well, I think
That could be in the middle of the meeting. You're just like, hey, it sounds like we're on the same page, but can we document this? Can we illustrate it?
I think
right?
that is yeah. I think majority of people like visual learners or something like that.
I'm sure.
Isn't there a statistic that says that?
We watch a lot of TV,
Danielle,
so
you can look that up real quick, right? Like look that up. Tell us. I'm pretty sure majority of people are visual learners.
okay.
So drawing a picture helps with that communication, right? And it helps what you're trying to say and helps you get that vision or whatever it is that you're trying to say across. So I think that's important.
Okay, draw me a damn picture,
65%
please.
of the global population identifies as a visual learner.
65% of the global population identifies. So yeah, the majority of people need a damn picture.
Yes. Well,
like you are in the majority.
okay, and sometimes,
Yeah.
and I talk about that a little bit, kind of as a caveat. Talk about that a little bit in just like progress reporting or like project management. Can you draw this, like this thing that you're trying to accomplish? Can you explain it to me with a picture?
Lay it out.
Lay it out, please. That's very important. So yeah, I mean, I think communication now. It's that's become a little bit harder.
No, I got one thing though that just popped into my brain as
Okay.
we're talking about.
Okay,
this.
you do that.
Talking about the value here. I was reading an Elon Musk quote.
Yeah.
I believe it was the Elon Musk
If you're in a
quote.
meeting and you don't think you need to be there, you should just leave.
Not if you don't need to be there. If you're in a meeting and you're not adding value,
Oh,
you should leave.
yeah. Well, or you should grab a marker and go to the whiteboard.
Well, then you would be adding value.
I know.
Yeah,
That's my point. Little.
So you're trying. That's a good point though, because what you're trying to do and what you're trying to say here is that by winning the value, you're trying to maximize your value output to the whole meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
which
have
is
you,
good.
But have you been in meetings where you're 2/3 of the way through, no one has left a chair, everyone's talking, but
Oh,
you
100%.
really are wondering like,
It seems like you're just going in a
You were
circle.
going in circles here, and
Yeah.
we're going to get to the end of the hour. Everyone's going to say "great job," and they're going to leave, and you're like, "We didn't actually."
What did we accomplish here? That's
Exactly.
what you're going to get to. Like, What did
Exactly.
we actually accomplish?
And also, sometimes maybe you are accomplishing something, but it's two ideas that aren't coming together, and you have to draw
Draw
it
it.
in order to make it make sense. So you're kind of like fighting,
Oh, yeah.
right? And you could continue to just verbally spar, but
Now, how
it'd
do
be
you-
better if you just put the two options up there and like, okay, these are the two things we're deciding upon.
So is this how you win the whiteboard? By drawing the picture?
I
Is
just
that what you're
wanted to
saying?
write, draw me a
You
damn
just wanted
picture.
to write
Because
it.
sometimes, you just walk up to a discussion and you just say, just draw me a damn picture, please. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I
I
understand you
get
guys
that
are
all the
all
time.
very smart and you're very qualified, but number one, do you know it well enough to draw it? Are you confident enough to do that? Are we all in agreement enough to draw it?
It's funny that you say that because I went into a meeting recently, right? And I planned this out ahead of time. It was a meeting with one of our guys, Jason. I went into that meeting and I told Jason, hey, look, here's the deal. I'm not going to prepare a presentation. Instead, what I'm going to do is we're going to start talking and I'm going to get up and I'm going to whiteboard this whole thing out. And the reason I did that is because two reasons. One, if you have to whiteboard it out, like draw a picture, like you're saying, in the meeting, right there at the moment, you better know what you're talking about.
Agreed. Which is why a
'Cause
lot
if
of
you-
people.
if you don't-
Which is why a lot of people won't grab the marker.
That's right.
Because they're afraid of that.
Because if you don't, then you have a problem, right? Because somebody could call you right there and be like, hey, what are you doing? So this is
Okay,
dangerous.
because in a technical meeting, a lot of times people don't want to take any intellectual risk.
100%. yeah.
Correct? Because they run the risk, especially in an engineering culture, you run the risk of saying something that's not 100% perfect and then looking bad. And a lot of,
Yeah.
if you've been a
And-
technical person and your whole career's been based on always having your calculations be right, and then you have to take a risk and put forth an idea that might get shot down, then it's tricky.
Well,
So-
in that particular meeting, it was interesting because the question was, hey, should we create a presentation about what our idea is? So what we were doing in that meeting is proposing a strategy or an idea, right? And so I guess traditionally what you would say is, let me put this in a presentation about my strategy or my idea and get that down. And then you go into that meeting and you sit in a room full of dudes or girls, Danielle.
professionals.
Professionals. Yeah, you sit in the meeting full of professionals and you go over this slide deck and half of them fall asleep because they're not going to pay attention to your slide deck with 1,000 words. Nobody likes 1,000-word slide decks, PowerPoint presentations, whatever you want to call them. The other half aren't really going to be paying attention. They're going to be looking at
but it's
it,
already
but it's
like,
already there.
so
Right.
so you're not going to debate it as much. The thing
Correct.
about when you draw it on the board, you can erase it and you can fix it right there.
That's right. And what I said before that meeting when we were planning it out is no. I said those exact words actually. I said no. What we're gonna do is I'm just gonna go in there and I'm just gonna write it all down right there on the whiteboard and say this is the plan, this is the strategy, and we're gonna shoot holes in it immediately, like while I'm writing it down.
Okay.
Right? and I will change it, like right then and there.
Okay, so it's better for collaboration.
I think it's way better for collaboration.
Okay. Now, also,
But you can't be afraid of that, right? Because like you're saying, that one, you have to know what you're talking about. But two, you also have to understand that in that collaborative type situation, I was expecting them and preparing myself for me to write something down and then somebody say, I don't think it goes that way. You know what I mean? And come back at me and me have to erase something or redraw it or something of that nature.
so if you're going to go to the whiteboard, you got to have confidence.
You got to have confidence in what you're saying. Yeah.
And you're looking for collaborative discussion. It's not already set in stone. We're figuring it out right now.
Correct.
Now, I could make a counter argument and say it's also could be a little bit of a crutch for laziness to say I'm not going to have anything prepared. We're just going to figure it out. So you got to balance that out, right? You need to. You don't want to go in there and say, "Hey, I have no idea. Somebody figure it out on the board." You'd prefer to have a plan. You're just choosing to use a presentation style that's more interactive.
Yeah, 100%. It's not that I didn't prepare, in that example. It's not that I didn't prepare for that meeting. I 100% did prepare for that meeting. As a matter of fact, I whiteboarded out with Jason like 2 or 3 times before the meeting even happened.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
But
So I drew it on a whiteboard a couple of times and erased it and redrew it and erased it again.
which you could have put in PowerPoint.
Which I could have done in
You
PowerPoint.
felt like the ultimate best way to get that task done was to show that process, the thinking process, during the meeting.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a good point too, because I think in communication, in understanding what like a strategy or whatever it is, when you're drawing it out like that, you are showing how you came up with that idea. So not verbally showing that, you're visually showing people this was my process to come up with this idea.
Yeah, yeah.
And so then they can see like an intuitive, like into your mind almost.
And we're
Like how
usually
you do it.
talking about a flow chart kind of situation, a box with a
flow
task,
chart
an
or a
output,
task, yeah.
an integration, something like
Something
that, right?
like that.
I don't want people to think we're talking about drawing trees and clouds and stuff. I mean, it's
No.
it's not artistic drawing; it's functional drawing.
It's functional drawing.
Well, because going through school, I took a speech class. That was a requirement. You had to take a technical writing class, you had to take a speech class. But the speech class was really mostly about speeches. And it was about maybe you create a presentation and you show that, but it wasn't about this type of communication. And I would argue that for like students or educational programs or whatever, you need to actually teach people how to walk somebody through a solution and whiteboard something out. Like if I was teaching a speech class right now, one of my speeches or half of them would be more like a whiteboard discussion than it would a PowerPoint. What are your thoughts on that?
I think so. I would agree on that. I think when you use a traditional PowerPoint, it's hard to actually get your overall message across.
Okay.
And I don't, especially, I guess, let me rephrase that. That is true in my mind if what you are looking for is more of a collaborative environment. So what you are looking for is more, hey, we're going to work as a team and figure this out together. I have a starting point for my way of doing it, but I want others to come in and poke holes in it, if you will. I think whiteboarding it out or winning the whiteboard is the way you get that collaborative effort. I don't think you get that in a PowerPoint presentation.
Well, you've got the old school take meeting minutes methodology, which is like the most like bare bones way to record activity.
Yeah.
And then you've got the everybody sitting down, taking their own notes kind of strategy. But like at the top of the productivity level is everyone looking at the board and agreeing these are the things we need to do. This is how we're going to do them. These are the important things, the not important things, right? Like that's, to me, in the food chain there. And the reason we wanted to have this discussion is I don't think everyone's really a lot of times comfortable with that. And I think they should be. And like I mentioned a meeting room earlier with 6 people in it. Well, I'm not just saying like the one person that called the meeting is okay to draw something.
No.
I mean, like everybody's okay to draw something. If you're sitting in there and you're 15 minutes in and you
Well-
don't think you're getting anywhere, get up and draw something. Say, hey, I'm having trouble here.
I think that is on the responsibility of anybody in that room. Like, and that's the value that you were talking about earlier. Like, it doesn't matter what meeting, and I'm going to use you as an example, but this is the way I see it too. It doesn't matter what meeting that you are in. You are in a meeting to provide value, and I think that goes back to Elon saying, if you're not providing value, then why are you even in that meeting? So, in your ideal is if even if it's a meeting that you didn't call, if you're sitting there in the meeting, you've listened for 10 or 15 minutes, and you see that it's either going in circles or you see that maybe not everybody's on the same page, then yeah, get up and say, hey, let's draw this out for a minute. So we all get on the same page. So we can all understand what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So we all start making progress to a common like goal. Or
Yeah,
task.
and it doesn't mean that you own the marker for the rest of the meeting, right?
That's right.
Just get something started.
Just get it
sit
started.
Back down.
Sit back down.
And then
Yeah.
somebody else can go up there, right? I just have been frustrated a little bit with a reluctance to do that. So, anybody that's working with me, I would encourage you
I think
to do
there.
that.
I think there's you put yourself in the spotlight when you do that, right? And like you said earlier, most people don't like to do that.
Well, yeah, I mean,
You
I had
put
to
that
spell collaboration right there on the spot. You weren't going to do that.
Oh, I definitely wasn't. I'm terrible at spelling.
So you got to have confidence, and you got to have knowledge, right?
Got to have confidence and knowledge.
Because you're going to put something up there for everyone to pick apart. But that's okay, even if you get it wrong. Most of the time, people are just like, hey, you got that. Let's tweak that a little bit, right? I haven't.
I guess when I do that most of the time to what you're trying to say here is well, I don't know how to say this. When I do that, I'm just trying to put my idea on a piece, on a whiteboard, on something that people can look at and tell me whether they not understand it or not. So I am actually, it's funny that you say confidence, and maybe this is where the confidence comes from. When I do that, I'm expecting that my idea is probably wrong right off the bat.
But it's on the right track.
Maybe. I'm not trying to say that my idea is right. What I'm trying to do is get the team together. Does that make sense? And get us all kind of working towards the same goal or
Well, yeah,
understanding the same process.
You don't be wrong for 45 minutes and nobody know it because you haven't. You're all not even talking about the right thing.
Oh, yeah, that would be
right?
bad.
So get it out there. Are we on the same page?
But normally, when you're the guy that gets up there and you start drawing on the board like that, then people are more willing to say, "Hey, I think you need to add a box here," or "I think you need to that actually talks to those 3 other things." You know what I mean? They're more willing to add that critique on the fly, and then you can just keep adding those lines, right?
Yeah, well, there's that old, that all the way back to elementary school when the teacher's calling on somebody and like, okay, who's going to read next? who's got to do this? Who's got to do that? One of those things was, okay, little Johnny, go up to the chalkboard. You have to solve this problem. So some people might have this sort of negative viewpoint of having to be in front of the class because they've solved a problem wrong one time or failed to solve a problem when they were put on the spot, right?
And I don't have any problem looking dumb. So.
But if you're in the right company or you're in the right group,
doesn't matter to me.
Then you should be okay just going up and giving it a shot, right?
Yeah,
okay, because it's not a test that everybody's trying to take. Like the test is for the whole group.
That's like it's funny that I guess you mentioned that. That's like a fundamental characteristic, right? Somebody's going to roast you for trying.
Well, then they're just the wrong person for your group, right?
Yeah, right.
But the other thing is you can
always tell those guys because there's always somebody that doesn't. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah,
people exist. If somebody tries to do that, you're just like, yeah, what did you do? You sat in your chair and were quiet the whole time? Whoa. Way to add value.
Well, and you could have 6 people in the conversation, and they could all be individually right, but you're all working on the wrong thing because you're not communicating.
Oh,
So,
man, that
right?
goes back
Does that
to
make sense?
your mowing the grass analogy.
Like they're all right, but together we're wrong.
Yeah.
Because it'd have been better if we just put our stupid idea on the board first.
I am gonna
Then we could all been right
I'm
together.
going to segue back to that a minute, where you're mowing the grass analogy. I think that's way better than the herding the cats. Because herding cats, you're just trying to, like, herd the cats. But mowing the grass analogy, you're actually trying to complete a task.
Yeah.
You're trying to complete a project. You have a goal in mind. And it's like you said, you're all working towards that same goal. You just might be doing it differently. And the overall goal is to do it uniformly. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, and that's the thing, a lot of people just want to be right. But being individually right when the group is moving in the wrong direction,
that doesn't
it'd have been better.
Right?
You just put it on the board. Somebody, got over their embarrassment, wrote it on the board, and then we were all like, oh no, we're solving the wrong problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you just threw a plug to our last week podcast, huh?
Yeah,
about our analogy.
I've really been thinking about that. We're using that everywhere. I love it. It's a great analogy.
Well, because you're sick of herding the cats.
Way better than herding
the cats has no real objective. It's just chaotic, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's terrible," right? It's like coaching t-ball or something. It's
I
just
literally
chaotic.
walked out of here and I told that analogy to like 100 people.
You just love it, huh?
Yes,
I appreciate that.
great.
I get credit for that every time you
Danielle
do that, right?
made a meme of it.
I liked it.
Now we got a meme and a graphic.
I liked it. Did you see Scotty asked us if we were building a pool?
Did he really?
in the comments, it said, "Look, looks like you guys are mowing the grass, so you can build a pool."
I still remember him sending out that picture of him in the bottom of his pit.
Yeah,
and he's holding a shovel.
Yeah,
and he's just he's like in the bottom of a dirt pit.
This is a colleague,
and he's got a shovel above his head, and then underneath he had a caption: "One man and a shovel."
Yeah,
I was like, oh wow,
built his own pool.
That's freaking awesome.
That's a whole nother discussion. Now
it is, but I will give a shout out because that is awesome. Yeah. He did that with a freaking himself. I've never heard anybody doing that.
No,
and it's totally awesome.
It's a one of a kind thing.
Respect. I got respect for that.
We'll see if he listens to this and then can comment on that.
Oh, maybe so.
So how does this culture, so we've been talking about as if everyone's in the same room. And up until 2020, that was a pretty common experience. Most people in a technology, or at least in the engineering business, were accustomed to working in an office, and they were having these meetings in rooms, which is another thing. Rooms without a whiteboard, just real quick. What are you even doing?
What are you doing?
If you got a meeting room and there's no whiteboard, you're just fooling yourself.
You know, when we were first starting out.
Good night.
When we were first starting out and we would get to clients or wherever we were going to for a meeting, and we'd go into a room and there wouldn't be a whiteboard. I was always kind of, I don't know about you, but I was always like, I'm going to be respectful and not say anything, basically, right? Now, I don't even care.
No.
I walk into a room, you could be the president of the United States. I don't care. If I walk into a room and there's no whiteboard in the room, I'm going to be like, where are the whiteboards?
Do you guys even get anything done here?
I need to draw some stuff out, and I don't have anything to draw.
Fancy rooms with glass walls and big windows.
Oh, yeah, we went to that meeting. You remember that? We went to a meeting in Chicago recently. We walked in there. They had no whiteboards anywhere. And I got a marker, and I was like, I'm going to draw on your damn windows. And I just started drawing on the window. And the guy just jumped in, and he was like, I'm for it. Let's do it.
And stop fooling yourself with these flip charts. I mean...
What do you mean, the flip chart?
The big paper thing, where you, like a poster board, and you flip it over. Yeah, I mean, serviceable, maybe.
No.
But...
No, there's not enough...
not enough real estate.
Not
Too
enough real
low. You need this...
Yeah.
Yeah, just terrible.
Now...
As we do this in a room with no whiteboard. But
we got a whiteboard right here.
This is what you do. You buy a rolling whiteboard if you if you don't have one in your conference
If you don't
room.
have one, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly why this is in here. Okay, so where I was going with that before I got sidetracked on that really critical situation there about conference rooms without whiteboards, which is a bad thing, is now most meetings are online. So then we get right back. Then we get right back to the situation where, okay, so Teams has like a whiteboarding
They have
feature,
a whiteboard feature.
but it kind of looks like paint.
I've never used
And
it.
nobody's good at writing with it or whatever, so it's hideous.
Is it
and
like
people,
paint? I've never used it. So I don't know.
I don't know. I probably gonna get in trouble from Microsoft, but I don't know.
saw
I
it.
haven't seen it used.
I
very
saw
much.
it, and I opened it, and then I just gave up.
Okay, so
Which is probably not good,
Yeah.
but that's what happened.
so what I do is I just open an empty spreadsheet, and I start drawing boxes on the spreadsheet and connecting them and typing stuff,
Now,
and I share it, and it is a canvas.
what's great about that is I started doing the same thing. So it's fantastic that you're doing that with the Excel. And now it's like win the sheets, I guess, because it's spreadsheets. I don't know what you would call that, but there's something similar. But then the other day I was doing that, and I had somebody say, hey, why don't you use PowerPoint?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's interesting. Let me try it. And I don't know if it's just the technical guy in me or the engineer brain, but I opened up PowerPoint to try it, and it has all the same like boxes and stuff. And I was like, this just doesn't feel right.
So
If you do it in a spreadsheet, it's like way better. I
Col-
don't know why.
colors and arrows and boxes going
Well, then
everywhere.
if you need to use a few cells to do like a quick
Yeah.
calculation, you got
Okay.
it right there.
Okay, because I
Right.
was in a meeting 2 weeks ago,
So weird,
and I
though.
started doing it. It was a staffing meeting. We are just talking about people, and then somebody stopped. They're like, "What are you doing? Are you using Excel as a whiteboard?" And I was like, "Yes, I do this in basically every meeting I'm in."
Yeah.
Because it's the same thing. You think that you're online, and because AI's taking notes, or because everybody's at their desk, and they got a second monitor doing some other goofy stuff, that means that everyone understands, or that you don't have to do that. But no, it's the same problem. You go through a whole discussion and not
It's the
determine
same
anything.
problem. Yeah.
So I've been using Excel, and I like it. And it's not catching on as fast as I hope. I'm hoping some of my team starts doing it more.
Oh, it caught on with me because I do it now all
Okay.
the time. Open up an Excel. I have it ready sometimes, even when I'm entering the meeting on Teams or Zoom or whatever. I'll have Excel open already.
Yeah.
Just a blank Excel file.
Yeah, and we're used to sharing. Let's say we have a list of tasks or something. You might
Yeah.
have a spreadsheet with a list of tasks, and you can share that, and you can talk through those, and that's okay. But it's not a picture, and so I think everyone listening is like, well, yeah, but I always share something. Yeah, you do. But I'm challenging you. Open a blank one, and draw your thoughts as you talk about them, or type them, put them in cells. You could do anything you want. It's just something. That's my argument. And
Well, you got to watch out for that, though, because I have been in some of those Teams meetings where somebody shares like a spreadsheet, and it's got like 30 columns on it with 10,000 rows.
yeah,
And they've made the cells all tiny so they can fit on one screen almost. And then you can't really read it.
I agree.
Yeah. And so
Yeah,
I
so
I don't do that.
The whiteboard or the scratch pad or whatever you want to call it concept is supposed to mimic what you would do
Correct,
in the
yeah.
room, and just say, hey, let's make sure we're
Yeah.
thinking about the same thing, right? This is a bit of a complex thing. Let's draw
it out.
a darn picture.
Yeah. I think draw the picture is a good one. Draw a damn picture. You said damn over there.
I did. We gotta get some listeners somehow. We gotta get edgy here. Is that what we're gonna do? Draw a damn picture, man.
We're
Don't
trying.
say, it's like you always use this phrase like 10,000 word email. And in our business, that's not a good email. I don't want 10,000 word emails because I'm not going to get to the end of that. Let's be honest. I got things to do. I can't read that whole thing. Meetings are the same way, right? I don't want to go there and listen to 10,000 words and not really get a
Understand.
result.
Yeah.
So our sort of advice, passion is use the whiteboard, use the scratch pad, have the confidence in the knowledge.
Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid. That's right. Get up there, draw your ideas. Some of them will be bad. That's okay. That's why they make erasers, right? Erase it, fix it, move on.
Yeah, I agree.
Sound good? Okay, well, there you go. Win the whiteboard.